Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Capital G here. I just got back from my War of the Spark pre-release. I only played in one this weekend, but I had a good one. 4 wins, 1 loss. And that loss came in the 5th and final round where we were tied 1-1 going into the final game, and I blew a tire. Mulligan down to 6, no lands. Mulligan down to 5, no lands. And at that tier, I just knew Mulligan to 4 would have been a waste of everyone's time, so we decided to call it a game there. So let's see what brought me to a 4-1, shall we? I'm just going to show off this deck here, and then I'm going to show you some of the other cards from my pull that I didn't play. I'm also going to show off some of the cards that came from the booster packs that I won. I was going to crack them here, but we ended up cracking them at the store instead. So yeah, I had a bias inside Hydra. This makes you think I'd be playing a lot of Planeswalkers, but no, only a couple of them, but one of them was Gideon. So, 3 mana 4/4 that can hand out keywords to my other creatures. It turned out to be a force in my games. Yep, I pulled God Eternal Ronus and God Eternal Oketra. That's what drew me to Selesnya Colors primarily, with a splash of blue. Was drawing both of those gods as well as Gids. So it gave me a good focus. And I had a lot of aggressive cards in the 1 to 3 slots in green and white, so the plan came together fairly quickly for me during building. So just the 1 copy of Giant Growth. I didn't get more than the 1. Who's a good doggy, by the way? Who's a good doggy? Who's a good dog? Of course, I talk about a good doggy, and then a cat with 2/1 first strike. Didn't make much of an impact in my games, nor did the Martyr for the Cause. I was never really in an instance where he died in combat while I had other creatures with counters. It just didn't happen in my games. It could have, but it didn't. Snare Spinner, on the other hand, that 3 toughness is very relevant. It stops a lot of the other opposing early drops. Had a couple of crunches, not just 1, but 2 crunches. There's the other one. Sorry about that. Pullen Bright Druid. This was one of my stars, being able to come down on turn 2 as a 2/2 creature, or coming down much later and giving the whole team, anyone who's got a counter of any sort of buff, with the Proliferate. And I had 2 of these guys in my build. And I also had a Watley's Raptor. The 2/3 and the Vigilance makes it amazing to begin with, and he ETBs Proliferate. Courage in Crisis. This was a card that I was excited about when I was saying what cards would be good with which commanders. I said that this would be awesome in Hapatra. It was awesome here. This card put in some work for me. Now, Guild Glow, because I am playing a 3rd color, it's 2 colorless, draw a card. It kind of let me keep 2 land hands when I probably shouldn't have. Because if I have 2 lands but I have this, that means I can more easily draw out of trouble. And Mana Geode. That Scry 1 is powerful, as well as tapping for any color mana. I also had a couple of the Firemind emblems, but I did not play them. I did play Bloom Hulk, a 4/4 on curve that proliferates, so it made sense to me to play that. And here's my blue splash, Kazmina. I found I didn't have a lot of way of drawing cards, so I put her in, and not only does it let me draw deeper into the deck, but it gives me tokens, so of course I would play her. And this deck's mana curve tops out at 5. So after 5 mana, I could discard all my lands whenever I wanted. I had 2 of these Eternal Skylords, because, I mean, 5 power for 5 mana in blue is impressive to begin with. And it also gives you zombie tokens, especially your zombie army token flying. Now, I drew 2 copies of Totally Lost, so I only played 1. This was the other card I played. Wanderer Strike. That's really all the removal I was playing, was just these 2 cards. But they put in the work when they came up. And Crawl Stinger just kind of ended up behind everything else, but 2/2 Death Touch on 3 mana made sense to me. And Arlen's Wolf was also a good curve filler. I'm going to show a few cards that I wasn't play. You may have noticed I did not play with my pre-release promos. That's what they were. I didn't play in any other pre-release. This was the only one, but it was also the 3rd one that has been run at my store thus far. So I was hearing people talk, and really because it's actually fairly difficult to get creatures into the graveyard in this format, Command the Dreadhorde was not as effective a card as it could have been. Which is a shame because I did draw a 2nd copy, but just kind of happens that way. And my other unused rare, by the way, was Labman Jace. I didn't have the tools needed to mill myself out, so I didn't go that route. 4-1 was good enough to win me 6 booster packs. It would have been shot up to 8 should I have won that last match. Could have happened. Get to that last round, we're 1-1, and that's when I popped the tire. 3 consecutive hands, mulligan to 6, mulligan to 5, no lands. But at least I came away with some pretty decent pulls. Now, Toll's Be a Friend of Wolves, I don't know if it's going to be a standard playable, but it's definitely commander playable. Definitely a commander playable. Casualties of War. Got me a Spark Double, which is pretty sweet. Super Clone, as I called it in the shop. Enter the God Eternals. I had this played against me in round 5. The game that I won, actually, in that round. The only reason I was able to survive it was because I was holding my Giant Growth, so I was able to respond to it and have my creature not die to this effect, but it's a lot of value at 5 mana that this card gives you. Also drew an Awakening of Vidugazi. Might find a use for that at some point. I'm not entirely sure where I want to put it precisely, but there's a lot of good options for this card. Got, well, Ral Zarek. My cards are a little slippery today. So, Ral Storm Conduit has the potential for a lot of broken things. Let's see what happens. And Eugene. So, I got some excellent pulls from those 6 packs that I had won. I, of course, bought the booster box. I don't have my box topper handy with me. Everybody's seen it, of course, already, so nothing to show off there. But I do have 36 of these guys. So let us see what, if anything, we could find. We're just going to go with the rares here since we don't have a lot of time. Rares and Planeswalkers. So Ravnica at War. This is definitely a card that I've been wanting. People are calling it a bad board wipe, but I know a few useful places for it. And there's Saheeli. Another awesome combo piece in our format. Next pack, and I'll try to make this fairly quick. I know these things can be pretty long. I don't want to take... Oh! Yes. Foil Sarkhan. And a Chandra. Same pack. Handy dandy garbage bin bag here, by the way. So let's move these out of the way since everything's going to slip if I don't. So how did everyone else's pre-release go so far? It's funny, like we did my shop started doing pre-releases at midnight. I didn't do the midnight or the daytime one. Didn't get my reservations in time for those. But there are some people that have literally played in all three. Oh yes, Bontu, been looking for him. Also got a nice Fireman vessel here. Look at that, in foil. Huge fan of that. If I at any point draw into the new Niv Mizzet, I do plan on making him a Gates commander. He's not necessarily the best qualified for it, but it's definitely the most flavorful pick. But it's not the fan favorite pick. This is the fan favorite pick. Feather. Oh, I'm not planning on building Feather, but I may find a home for her somewhere. And there's Ashiok, of course. Great, great. Planeswalker, that one. I could probably see standard decks that play that are just rocking Ashioks and milling people out. I could see it happen. But yes, for Blast Zone. This I've seen some cool interactions with during the pre-release. One person had that. There's Obnixilis. One person had that blue zombie. That black blue zombie that takes off counters to draw cards. And took the counter off of Blast Zone and then activated the Blast Zone to destroy my tokens. That's really high level stuff. That was my 5th round match. I thought that was one of the sweetest combos I'd seen over the course of the day. Next up we got a shiny T-Balt's Rager. Do we have a Tibalt? No, we have a Dreadhorde Butcher. He looks like someone who's going to be really, really good in Standard. That 1/1 haste. And whenever he deals damage to a player or planeswalker, he gets a 1/1 counter. And he can deal damage to any target when he dies. So I think he's actually going to be a really, really good card in Standard. I'm going to put him in the binder and see if that in fact does become a thing. But yes, like at any pre-release, I say any pre-release. I had one pre-release experience where I was playing against someone who was a bit of a jerk and was really, really hardcore and it's funny, he wanted me to take my time, but then he would play lightning fast and he wouldn't communicate verbally what he was doing. He would just play a card and then point at something. Not even point, just like snap. As if I knew what he wanted to do. I didn't know if he wanted to tap it, destroy it, bounce it, or what. So that was during the Ravnica Allegiance pre-release. I'm glad I didn't see him again. It takes a lot for someone to make me dislike them. I know it may not sound like a lot, but ooh, Nissa. Because she's the rare, she's also the Planeswalker, so there's no other cards to show from this pack, but it's Nissa. That's what we care about here. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't see that particular person again. I say it doesn't sound like it's a lot to piss me off, but I guess it was so unusual to see that kind of behavior at a pre-release, at least in my experience at pre-releases. Finale of Glory. Also have an Angraf. Angraf was really good at the pre-release, by the way. You know, giving all your creatures menace and spitting out and amassing an army. Very effective card. I didn't see anybody play Finale of Glory, but I'm personally a huge fan. I'll find a home for that for certain in my builds. So yeah, so other than that, but usually like pre-releases are a great time, by the way, if you've never been to one. I just had that one bad example, really. Take that away, and I would say I had fun at every occasion that I played in a pre-release. Kaya, I didn't see anybody play with Kaya. I don't know if anybody pulled her or not, or I just didn't get into those matchups, but there we are. Commence the end game, of course. That's also very, very powerful card. Draw 2 cards, amass X. Trying to think where I could put that, but the fact that that is an instant is really, really sweet, if you ask me. But let's forget about the bad apples. They're the ones that you may remember them more, but they're not the ones you go to pre-releases for. Everyone today was especially awesome. Very sporting, very just bouncing tips and advice on deck building back and forth throughout the event. Darth Vader, Davriel, whatever his name is. And Dreadhorde Invasion. They wanted to call this the new Blitter Blossom. It's good. It always gives you fuel for sacrifice, so it's good in that sense. So if you play Blitter Blossom just to sacrifice, then you have a second copy. But if you're playing Blitter Blossom to swarm, well, Dreadhorde Invasion is worse in that capacity. There's a lot of buzz about that card. Ignite the Beacon. My Anamatu deck's gonna like that card, being able to pull out 2 Planeswalkers. And speaking of Planeswalkers, Dovin. This guy's a jerk in Limited. You know, just be like, hey, I've got a 2/2 Death Touch, and Dovin is like, hey, he doesn't deal or receive damage. Also, actually, it's not so much the -1 that bothered me. There was instant sorceries and artifact spells cost 1 more to cast. That bit me a few times in my round 3 match, actually. Where I'm only at 3 lands, I draw my mana rock, but I have to get rid of Dovin before I can cast it. Once I finally did cast it, I was able to come back and win that game, but yeah, Dovin's a jerk, as I knew he would be. We have another Laban Jace, so I've got some trade fodder for anyone who wants to kind of go that route. Of course, he's the rare, so let's move him along and move to the next pack. This is the first time I've ever done a booster box opening on YouTube, so strictly worse than Heb. I mean, I like that 5/4 push stats with trample, and the card cycling's pretty cool, but his Hour of Devastation version is definitely way better. That doesn't mean playing with this card is invalid, of course, because he's still a good creature. But he doesn't do the same degenerate things that the old Neheb did. As for Teo, I heard somebody in my forum saying that Teo is going to be the new white Planeswalker going forward. We shall see what M20 brings us in that regard. Yeah, another Enter the God of Turtles. And we have the Wanderer. They go around. Yeah, the only thing I do is I can think of that old, like, was it late 50s or early 60s, that song, The Wanderer. Still, it's a good card, although I don't know how good it would have been in pre-release. I didn't draw one, but it was also very, very rare that I saw a creature that was power 4 or greater, honestly. It was more about, oh ho ho! I've got me some trade bait. 4-leaf feather, people are going to want that, so I'm probably just going to trade that away, honestly. I've already got a feather, I don't need a second one. That pack also gave me a Domri. And Domri is really, really good. So, you know, Anthem All the Creatures. It ramps us. It makes our spells uncounterable. It gives us a fighting outlet. Really, really solid Planeswalker. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting a pretty decent box. Personally, as far as what I'm missing Bolas so far, and I would definitely like to see, well, the other heavy hitters are like Liliana and Finale Promise. Oh, Mizzix. I do have a Mizzix deck. I've not shared it on the channel yet, but I am rocking a Mizzix deck. So, Finale of Promise has a home with Mizzix. Watley, the Sun's Heart? Not sure where she goes. She might be a good redundancy in Doran or Arcades, but that's about it. There might be some Selesnya decks that care about the life gain also, so we'll have to see about that going forward. A little foil common here. Thunder Drake. Ooh, another rare Planeswalker here. A Johnny the Greathearted. Creatures you control have vigilance. I may toss this one into my cat deck just for the static alone. My other Planeswalker decks are not white and green, so can't really take full advantage of that -2 otherwise, but in my cat deck, I usually like to play with 1 or 2 cats at a time and send some big cats at my opponents. Giving them all vigilance means I don't have to worry about the crackback. Soul Diviner, this is the guy I was talking about. I didn't realize he was a rare, but it makes sense. So yeah, Soul Diviner, you take the counter off of Blast Zone and you can blow up all the tokens. Also have another copy of Obnix here. So yeah, what pre-releases have I played previously? Well, I played in, I think my first one was actually Darksteel. I had a fairly decent showing there. My big bomb was Bosch. Speaking of big bombs, it's just boom. You drop this and it's just boom. Drop the mic. Also have Kiora. Actually, look at that. Whenever a creature power 4 greater enters the battlefield, draw a card. Whenever this attacks, create 2 4/4s. Combo in a pack. I wouldn't necessarily build a deck specifically to do that, but yeah. But yes, first pre-release was Darksteel, I think. Yeah, first set I drafted, booster draft, that would have been Torment, actually. And I did something trolly there. I drafted Selesnya, or just white and black, or white and green, because they were the weakest colors. Nobody took the best cards from those colors, so I scooped them all up and actually had a competitive build. So yeah, Jaya, she wasn't very good in the pre-release. No surprise there, really, because we didn't have, say, red token strategies. But in a red token strategy, Jaya is a good fit. And Krenko, of course. Krenko would actually encourage red token strategies. So there you go, another combo in a pack. About halfway done here, it looks like. So let's keep it going. So yeah, so I played Darksteel. I've done booster draft of OG Ravnica, so it was Ravnica, and Guild Pact. Command the Dread Horde. Oh yes, that's a big one. Oh yeah, never mind. I was mixing it for something else. Now that's my third copy of that, so it might be hard for me to get rid of these because a lot of people didn't like them at the pre-release. And another Jaya. So, drafted OG Ravnica a couple of times. Was definitely at the pre-release when Dominaria came out. I made it a point to be there. Plain white celebration. That one's not too exciting. Well, proliferate 4 times, and in our format we can get to 7 mana fairly easily, so maybe? And that's the Planeswalker for that pack, Saheeli. By the way, did you know that I live right next to an ambulance dispatch center? So that's what that's about. And you can tell it's a new driver because experienced drivers do not turn on their sirens until they hit the highway. Another feather. I only need 1 of those guys. I don't need 3. So my trade binder is going to become very attractive unless other people are drawing lots and lots of copies of feather. Next pack, let's see what we got here. Oh yes, this is one of the big ones. This is going to be a viable card for a long time to come. Vivian's Arcbow. I've seen this do work in the pre-release. I've seen a jank deck where it's playing like 3-4 Planeswalkers. You play the Vivian's Arcbow and then discard and dump all your mana into it, like 7-8 mana to try and get that Hydra. And then the Hydra would come in as a 20/20 trample. You managed to get something like that to work. Well, I'm glad it didn't happen to me, but I wish I saw it happen. Yeah, we've got Liliana's face all but covered up here, don't we? Alright, how do people keep talking like during a whole unboxing of these things? So we've got a Vraska single combat. Single combat is going to be great in my mono white deck, actually. Because I play... Get a little tired, so his name eludes me. Teshar. I play Teshar. What's nice about him is I can play any old historic permanent. It doesn't have to be a planeswalker. It doesn't have to be a creature. It could just be an artifact. And still get stuff back from my graveyard. So, single combat is going to be good with my Teshar deck. May also be very good with my Fire Song and Sunspeaker deck. Yes. Bolas the Citadel. This is a dirty card. It's like, on one hand, if this card gets banned, I wouldn't blame the rules committee for making that call. But now that I have one, I hope it doesn't. A lot of speculation on to do, not just financially on Bolas the Citadel, but on the future of that card in our format. But then again, Paradox Engine did not get targeted on our format. It didn't get banned, so don't see why Bolas the Citadel would. There she is. It's Lily. It's Lily. So yeah, getting a lot of good pulls here tonight. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 packs left. The last 8, everyone. Hope you're still with me on this one. There's another Kashmina and a finale of Revelation. I like how all the finales in this set called back to Hour of Devastation. It's a nice little flavor win there. And we also got a Forced Landing in that pack as well, foiled. And sounds like the wife's on, actually. She had a long day at work, so she ended up missing out on this tournament. It was a fun time. I'm hoping that I could finally... It's tough. I'm not very good at teaching Magic. I can teach a lot of my other games, but I cannot teach Magic. So I'm hoping one day she follows my interests. If she does, she does. She doesn't, she doesn't. We still love each other to death. So yes, I am totally pandering to the wife while on video. And I'm not looking in her direction just yet, but I'm sure she's got a big old smile on her face Or shaking your head in dismay. It's one of the two. She's either got a big old smile or she's shaking her head in dismay. Next pack. Got another copy of Ral here. Do I have more than one place to put Ral in a deck? I have to go through all my stuff and find out. If not, well, I've got a new pack of cards here, so I'm sure I can build other decks. It's tough because I'm going for the prismatic. One of everything. I won't do colorless because that's... Actually, will I do colorless? I'm not sure if I'll do a colorless deck. There's another Commence the Endgame. And we got Tybalt this time. But yeah, I don't know if I'll do colorless or not. I definitely want decks in at least all of the color combinations. I've got my monocolored accounted for. I've got all my 4 colors accounted for. Got a couple of 5-color decks already. It's just some of the trickier 2 and 3 color ones like Teamer. I don't have any ideas or anything cool to do with Teamer. There's been a lot of hype around this card. Those stats are kind of push at 2/5. It's gonna block forever. I don't know. I'm personally not seeing the appeal of this card. Now I could probably totally get owned in that respect, but Living Twister definitely has its fans. It's just that I'm not one of them. Deliver Unto Evil. I love the art on this card. This is not so much like the art of what's taking place on the plane right now. It's more like if you were to paint a piece to depict the story and hang it up in a museum, this is closer to the mark of what you would find. And there's Samut. I didn't get any Samuts yet, so I'm glad to have her. Welcome to the team. Last 2 packs. We're almost done for the night. Another Vivian's Arc Bow. That's okay. I can use these. And Arlen. She's actually really, really good in the pre-release. If you pull her in your pack, make sure you can find a way to ramp up to 6 mana and play her because she is dominant. You know, putting up out to 3 wolves that are 3/3s. It's like -2, create a 2/2 wolf, and then it gets a 1/1 counter that can be proliferated and what have you. So if you draw your Arlen in your packs, play her. Play her. Anyways, I'm getting tired. Last pack of the night is right here for us. Let's see what we have. We got a Sarkhan's Catharsis, or the official replacement to Lava Axe. Wizards of the Coast, because we have this now, you are no longer allowed to play Lava Axe or print Lava Axe. Widespread Brutality. And Kiora Behemoth Beckoner. Yep. That is, well, a little messy finish here for us, but that is my box of War of the Spark. Got a lot of cool ingredients. I'll probably end up picking up a couple more boosters along the way once I can regularly make it to Commander Nights. I'm going to be missing the next one because of helping the sister-in-law get moved. Priorities, after all. But once I can start going back on a regular basis for Commander Nights, I'll end up picking up a couple of boosters there and have a few more walkers and awesome cards to work with. So have fun over the rest of the weekend, everybody, and I will talk to you all next time.